Hello everyone and welcome back to more Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trials and Tribulations. Last time we did the final investigation for this chapter, and now we're getting into the trial. I'm going to do this all in one sitting. I don't know if you guys are going to see it all at once. You probably will though, so let's get right into it. Sorry I took a day off yesterday. Well actually, by the day you're seeing this, never mind. Good morning, Mr. Wright. Good morning, Maggie. So, what do you think is going to happen today, sir? Yesterday's session didn't go so well, and then ended on a giant mystery. That's true, and we still haven't solved a single part of it yet. Are you okay, Nick? Huh? Oh, yeah, of course. I saw that little flash of doubt in your eyes. No, that wasn't doubt, that was, determination. Why don't I believe you? It's nearly time, Maggie. You'd better get going to the defendant's seat. Roger, don't let me down, Mr. Wright. I'm counting on you. That might not be the best idea. Hey, pal! Hey, Detective Gumshoe. Quit stressing Maggie out. She doesn't need that. How did you know she was stressed? I was watching through the doorway. Oh. You look like you lost the case already. Show a bit of confidence, will you, pal? Here, maybe this'll help. Huh? Have you taken up aromatherapy too? Not in a million years, pal. Don't tell me that you don't remember this thing. Come to think of it, it doesn't look like one of those. Come on, are you guys that stupid? Yeah. I know, God, you don't need to show me this. The fact that we don't remember this is kind of sad. Then again, if I was playing this like 2 months later, I'd be really happy that I know what this is. I know, I saw this already. We finally got the analysis results back from the lab. So, what is it? Is it the poison? I'm afraid not, pal. It's medication. Medication? Oh, you know what? It's, yep. Yeah, for ears. Topical use only, apparently. For ears, you mean? Yeah, it's the medication Glenn Elg was using for his ruptured eardrum. What was Glenn Elg's ear medicine doing in the kitchen? Okay, we're getting all the laggy stuff out of the way right now. What about the unidentified fingerprints? Anything on that? Someone screwed up, so they only had time to analyze the contents of the bottle. Another hour and they might have gotten something on the prints, but that's gonna weaken its impact as a piece of evidence. Okay, pal, this is it. Make sure your defense is impregnable today. Got it? I read that as impregnable. I'm like, that's not a word, detective, but you know what? Today's trial, I'm gonna expose that guy for what he's done. Or my name isn't Phoenix Wright. I get it, because he's it's funny. Hello, Mr. Trite.
Court is now in session for the trial of Maggie Bird.
The defense is ready, Your Honor. Ready and awaiting as always, Your Honor.
Very good. Then we'll get underway at once. Yesterday, we heard the testimony of Mr. Victor Kudo. He claimed to have witnessed the defendant putting a powder into the victim's coffee. However, the witness's testimony was plagued with a number of problems.
Marks on the rim of the cup show the victim drank from it with his right hand. But according to the old man's testimony, he picked it up with his left hand. How do you explain that, Trite? It's like, wait, what? How did this become about me all of a sudden?
Thank you, Mr. Gatto. Furthermore, according to the witness's account, the victim was listening to the radio with an earpiece in his left ear. Yet the victim's left eardrum was ruptured, which made him effectively deaf in that ear.
It's amazing how many contradictions a single case can have, huh, Nick? Ha! Allow me to enlighten you, Your Honor. The world, you see, keeps turning, and we must turn with it.
You've lost me already, Mr. Gatto.
Don't let the mysteries of yesterday's mystify you today. Only losers think like that. You gotta change with the times. It's one of my rules.
Are you implying that you resolved these contradictions?
You know the answer.
You know the answers to these riddles?
The old guy wasn't just throwing seed in here. He was throwing us off the scent. And today I'll prove it.
Very well. Let the first witness take the stand.
Who is gonna be the first? Oh, God. Oh! And you are?
Oh, bonjour, everyone. I am Jean Armstrong.
Jean, not Jean.
The owner and head chef of Le Très Bien Restaurant. Enchanté.
Forgive me for asking, witness, but are you a woman?
Oh la la, monsieur. As you can see, I am the pert and perky gentleman, no?
On the day of the incident, you were in Trey Bien's kitchen. Isn't that right?
Who is you, monsieur? Everything feels right.
Ha! Wow, he's totally unfazed. Doesn't anything intimidate this guy? I love that interaction. He was totally like, I have no idea what to say, so I'm gonna drink some coffee. Very well, your testimony, please, witness. Please tell the court what happened that day at Tribulations.
Oui, volontiers.
I'm sorry, I know everyone is saying, like, my French accent is bad, but, like, I'm sorry. That's all I can do.
When it all happened, there were 2 customers in my restaurant. I remember I was experimenting with some new art decors.
With some new art deco. Is that the decoration? I'm confused.
Like having a large mirror between the tables, for example. Oui, perhaps that is what the old man was looking at. La cup, la earpiece, and la glasses.
He would have seen everything in reverse, no? Mirror?
Oui, un grand mirror. Le most enormous mirror.
We have literal evidence that disproves that, don't we? And suddenly, the mystery disappears. Come on, game. Ooh. I don't see no mirrors. Not in this crime photo. Like I said, the world keeps turning, so roll with it. That would explain the coffee cup and the earpiece conundrum. The mirror would have made everything appear back to front. What the heck? It's way too early in the morning for this to be happening to me. Now then, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination. Cross-examination at Très bien. There's something I want to try right away. I don't know if it's right or not. Okay, that's what I was thinking. The coffee cup, the earpiece, and the HMD. Let's think back over Mr. Kudo's testimony for a second, shall we? The boy was wearing the earpiece on the same side as the green lens of his specs. No question, you can lock me up if I'm wrong. It was his left ear, without a doubt. So, to summarize, we were told both the HMD and the earpiece were on the victim's left side. Now, if Mr. Kudo saw all that as a reflection in a mirror, it means both the HMD and the earpiece were actually on the victim's right side.
Exactement, you see, monsieur. Now that you think about it, it is not so hard, no?
Unfortunately, that's where we run into a monumental contradiction with the facts. If Mr. Kudo really did see everything in a mirror, why is it that the HMD is now on the wrong side of the head? Order! Order! Mr. Wright is correct. The witness genuinely observed the victim reflected in a mirror. Then we would expect the victim's eyepiece to have been over his right eye. How bitter. Trite. You should have a taste of this bitterness. It'll calm you down in no time. Are we talking about your coffee or something completely different? You don't understand the way the witness thinks. How he thinks? You remember this, I presume? The I broke the vase, sorry apology, I mean Mr. Kudo's sworn testimony? Exactly. The old man has one very grievous habit, other than throwing seeds. The more of an impression something makes, the more muddled his mind makes it. And what's the most striking thing about Mr. Elg? Clearly, it's the victim's eyepiece. And that's my point. The old man strikes again. Mr. Elg's MHD made a big impression on the old man. I saw the earpiece and those newfangled spectacles he was wearing. Oh yes, they were both on his left ears, do you hear? His left ear. Ha! Well, trite. That's the worst, but best impression of Kudo ever. Wow, I really thought he was old seedy for a minute there. God, it was good. Enough! I must agree that yesterday's witness was irresponsibly rash in much of his testimony. Bad luck, Nick. Looks like the boil of a contradiction you found is just a rash. A mirror can't be beaten by a handful of seeds, nor can it lie. So, what exactly was the old man looking at? Fill us in, Mr. Armstrong. Go on, tell the court. We're all ears.
Oui, I can explain. Please, if you will look at the plans of the restaurant.
The mirror.
Killer in the killer in the killer in the mirror. Alas, is everyone sitting comfortably? Lamia, it was in the middle of the restaurant, dividing the two halves. There was only one seat which you could have seen an image of la victim. That was the seat at the table next to la victims. That was where la old man was sitting.
But that's not...
After that terrible incident occurred, I moved Lamia so it was not in the way. But naturally, I did not touch anything else.
Oh. Okay. There's two contradictions now. On the table next to the victim, Mr. Kudo could have seen the victim in the mirror.
What a naughty little coquette I am, confusing all the men like this.
Don't worry about it. We can keep up, except for the guy breaking out in a cold sweat over there again.
Ugh, I hate that guy.
You said you didn't touch anything else apart from the mirror. Are you quite sure about that?
Volunteers, of course.
Very well, Mr. Wright. Your cross-examination, if you please. Okay, so that final statement you made was incorrect. You did touch something.
Don't lie!
Don't lie to us! Oh, that was easy. That was my second time. This piece of evidence contradicts with testimony we have heard, Your Honor. Crime photo? Yes, this photo clearly shows something that theoretically should not exist. What on earth do you mean by that, Mr. Wright? Should not exist? Ha! Sounds like you're describing yourself, Trite. Oh! Now then, if the defense would please clarify its statement. What is this something that should not exist in this photo?
The vase. Are you dumb?
I think it's pretty obvious this is what should not be in the picture. The vase? What possible connection does that have with this witness's testimony?
Your Honor, I'm telling you that there should have been no vase on this table, because it very clearly contradicts with this piece of evidence.
Victor's testimony!
There is one thing that was clearly demonstrated by yesterday's testimony. Mr. Kudo broke the vase that was on the table where he was sitting. And yet, as the court can see, there was an unbroken vase on the table next to the victim. Why? Because Mr. Kudo was not, in fact, sitting at the table next to the victim at all.
Don't be an idiot, Trite, that's impossible. That seat's the only one Kudo could have seen the victim's reflection from.
Exactly. There is only one conclusion we can draw from this contradiction. There was no mirror in Tribulations that day. Your testimony, Mr. Armstrong, is an elaborate lie. Mon Dieu!
Objection!
Don't try to confuse the court, Trite. Obviously, the witness cleaned up the vase, while the police were taking their time to getting to the crime scene.
Unfortunately, Mr. Gatto, that doesn't quite work for me. Mr. Armstrong already testified to the contrary. In his own words, I did not touch anything else except the mirror.
Coffee time. Well, witness, what do you have to say for yourself?
I was right. There was no mirror in the restaurant that day.
In light of this revelation, we return back to the original problem. Why did the victim have an earpiece in an ear in which he couldn't hear?
You only get one shot in life. There's no turning back. If you want to claim that the mirror wasn't there, Trite, then this problem is all yours. How do you explain what the old man saw? If I can answer this, then I'll be that much closer to the truth. I can feel it. Are you gonna be okay? Can you really solve this contradiction, Nick? There's more than just this one contradiction, Maya. What do you mean? Remember what Maggie told us? There was another man at the victim's table, and there was a sample CD on the victim's table. It all flies in the face of Mr. Kudo's testimony. And I think I know the reason why nothing in this case is adding up.
Well, Mr. Wright, let's hear your answer.
Yes, Your Honor. The reason behind all the contradiction in Mr. Kudo's testimony is simple. What?
The only possible one I can think of is the victim was a phony.
No way, you're lying to me. This case is riddled with contradictions, yet there's one very simple answer that clears them all up.
And what is that?
The incident Mr. Kudo witnessed and the incident the victim experienced were two completely different events.
What?
Yes, The victim that Mr. Kudo saw wasn't Mr. Glenn Elg at all. It was an imposter, a phony pretending to be Mr. Elg. Obviously, unlike the victim, there was nothing wrong with the imposter's left eardrum. That's how he ended up wearing the earpiece in his left ear by mistake.
Order in the court. Settle down, or I'll clear the courtroom.
Quiet, Gramps. Why don't you clear out of here, huh?
What did you say?
Right. Are you saying that what Mr. Kudo saw was a setup? Yes. Someone pretended to be Glenn Elg and acted out the whole coffee poisoning, all for the express purpose of creating a witness out of one Mr. Victor Kudo. Get real, Trite. Why would anyone want to do that? Isn't it obvious? The thing Mr. Kudo was most insistent about in his testimony was...
The servant girl brought him a Javachino, but she put something in it. That's the servant girl right there in the defendant's chair. I remember her well. Oh, it's so hard to believe, but...
There was one and only one reason to show Mr. Kudo this fake poisoning. To show Maggie Bird in the act of poisoning the coffee. Are you insinuating that the waitress in the old man's store was a fake as well? It's true that there were no other customers in the restaurant at the time, but... It's also true that the chef was there. He would have noticed what was happening.
That's right. Well, witness, if your restaurant really was the scene of such theatrics, you would have known about it, correct?
Oh la la, this is most difficult for me. No, it's quite simple. All you have to do is testify. You are under oath after all. Was there, in fact, a phony at Tribulations that day? The defense demands that Mr. Armstrong tell the whole truth about what happened.
The defense request for additional testimony is accepted. You will accurately explain in detail the events in the restaurant that day.
Oui. But he can't, because he's like going to be killed if he actually says what happened. La victim, Monsieur Elg, came to my restaurant alone. I remember the old man arrived not long after him. There was no other customers. When he got word he won the lottery, Elg became very excited. It was approximately 5 minutes later that the poisoning incident took out. No, there was no time for a phony to do la acting.
Just so we're clear, there was no mirror in the restaurant after all?
Je vous demande pardon. Forgive me, Your Honor. I lied because I wanted this mess to be cleared up quickly.
What you have just done is commit perjury, Mr. Armstrong. I will decide how to punish you later.
Oui.
For now, we will hear your cross-examination, Mr. Wright.
He took that perjury charge a bit too well. But I'm guessing he'll be in more serious trouble after this cross-examination.
Boom! Let's go, boy!
My old man, you mean Victor Kudo, correct? Oui, it comes often for my special coffee. I drank your coffee once, Mr. Armstrong. It's special, I'll give you that. It's worth a sip just for the experience. Oh, you make me so happy, monsieur. You're most welcome anytime. I said it was worth the one sip, nothing more. So, old Mr. Kudo arrived at the restaurant around the same time as the victim. Maybe I should ask about his arrival in more detail. What time was it? Out of curiosity, about what time was it when Mr. Kudo arrived? Oh no, I cannot remember, monsieur.
I believe we were told by a witness yesterday. Crime was reported at 2:25 by a kind of scary old man, sir. Does that perhaps jog your memory, witness?
The incident happened about 20 minutes after he arrived, so the victim must have arrived between 2 p.m. and 2:10, no? Just after 2, huh? That's wrong! Ah! Thank you for your help in jogging my memory, monsieur. You are wonderful.
Ha 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 ha. Oh, I can't sit here all the time and do nothing now, can I? Time of day will be added to the witness's testimony, and that's where you're gonna be wrong. Gonna be wrong. Oh, come on. You don't remember the old man arrived then. You just learned that right now, and you're like, I guess that is... Boom, get wrecked, boy.
I'm afraid I finally got you, Mr. Armstrong. What do you mean? At the time in question, the victim was listening to the radio with his earpiece. The show he was listening to was Millionaire Radio. Each week, they announced the winning numbers of a $500,000 lottery ticket. Oui, that must be la chambre Helg was listening to.
I can't see any problem with this testimony, Mr. Wright.
I wonder. You say the victim arrived at your restaurant after 2 p.m., correct? Oui, I am sure of it. I remember it perfectly now. I know it was that time because I had just finished serving la lunch menu. Get to the point, right? Do you have one? That show is broadcast live at 1:30 p.m., and it claims to be the most thrilling 10 minutes of your life.
It's on the air at 1:30?
Now, supposedly, the victim made some noise when it announced that he had won. And yet, I don't believe his cry of joy could have occurred after 2 p.m. Because the show had already finished more than 30 minutes earlier by that point in time. No! This victim we've been told about has done nothing but the impossible. Listening to the radio with a ruptured eardrum, catching a show that was already over. There's only one conclusion you can draw from these facts. The victim was an imposter, acting out of the poisoning 30 minutes after the real murder.
Acting out the poison, sorry.
Yes, there were 2 Glen Elgs in Tribune that day. The real Glen Elg, now dead, have been poisoned by the real killer, and the phony Glen Elg, acting out the events for Mr. Kudo to witness.
It certainly seems that way. I mean, if that wasn't the case, how could you explain the time discrepancy?
Quite a performance, Trite. You're almost on a roll. But sadly, you lack the rock-hard foundation of rhythm to build your song. What is this, Music Theory 101? Let's recap. According to your imaginative theory, it's now just after 2 p.m. The phony elk is performing a play for the benefit of Mr. Kudo. How do you explain, then, where the real Glen Elg is? I don't believe I have to spell this out for the court, however. At the time, the real Glen Elg was already dead.
Well, that's certainly the obvious conclusion.
Thank you, Trite. That's exactly what I was hoping you would say. What? Now, I presume you can prove this theory of yours. Can you explain where the missing corpse went to? The missing corpse? According to the old man's testimony, there was only one other customer there. If that customer was the phony Glen Elg. Then where did the killer hide the body of the real victim? No! That sucks for me.
Prosecution is a valid point, Mr. Wright. If your theory is to stand up to examination by the court, you must provide us with proof by answering the prosecution's question. Where did the killer hide the body?
Yes, Your Honor. No conjecture, Trite. Let's hear some facts for once. Show the court a piece of evidence that proves where the body was hidden. Evidence? What's with the intense pressure in here all of a sudden? I thought I had up that contradiction. But he's turned it all around and backing me into a corner instead.
Well, Mr. Wright, the court will now hear the defense's theory and evidence. First, where was the body of the real Mr. L conceived?
Inside Tribune. It would have been too dangerous to take the body outside. Obviously, the body must have been hidden somewhere inside Tribune.
Interesting. But where could a body have been hidden inside a restaurant? Perhaps you would care to show the court on these plans, Mr. Wright.
Yes, Your Honor. The kitchen. Let's save in slot 3. Body was hidden here.
I see.
Nice supposition. The real question is, can you back it up? Where's the evidence that proves the body was hidden in that location?
Small bottle.
Yay! Mr. Armstrong, do you recognize this bottle? No. I have never seen that ugly bottle before in my life. I only use the very best bottles, monsieur. The lightest quality you have for me, the highest.
Where was that bottle found, Mr. Wright?
Interestingly enough, Your Honor, it was found in the kitchen of Tribune. Quoi? But I only ever use this bottle for my aromatherapy oils. But this bottle doesn't contain aromatherapy oil, Mr. Armstrong. No, it contains a medication.
What kind of medication?
I'm sure everyone remembers, don't they? That Mr. L visited an clinic and was given medication that day? You can't be serious. The defense had the contents of the bottle analyzed, and I have the lab results here. The contents of this bottle matched the prescription that was given to Mr. L. Glenelg's murderer hid the body in the restaurant kitchen, at which time this bottle fell out of the victim's pocket. Mr. Armstrong, when the incident occurred, didn't you say you were in the kitchen?
Mon Dieu!
Yes, you know what I'm about to say. It was you who hid the victim's body. You did a fine job pretending to defend my client, Maggie Bird. However, you were setting her up to take the fall behind the poor girl's back.
No! Oh, order! This is an extraordinary development. Witness, did you murder Mr. Glenelg? Never! I could not do such a notable thing.
No!
Mr. Gatto?
The bitterness. Every time I get lied to, I always down a mug of coffee. That's one of my rules. Do you have the slightest idea how many cups you've had by now? And I like to do the same to the person who lied to me. I'd like to take them down with my empty cup. Listen up, chef. How about a brand new flavor in your ear, my H-deficient friend?
Je vous demande pardon. Please, you must hear me out. It is a trap. Listen to me, por favor.
Yo hablo español, Mr. Armstrong, and por favor is Spanish.
I'm only going to ask you once. Did you do it?
No. Absolutely not.
Let's hear it. You've got one shot. Right, Gramps?
Witness, the court will permit you the chance to make one final statement. If you lie under oath again, Mr. Gatto's coffee mug awaits you. As does my gavel.
Oui, it is clear.
What do they always say in the movies? I've got a bad feeling about this.
Very well, begin your final testimony, Mr. Armstrong.
The confession. It is true. I hid the body in the kitchen. A man forced me to do it. I had no choice. I had to go along with him because there was a reason why I could not refuse. But I did not kill him. I swear it. You must believe me.
You were forced? By who?
I cannot say, or you will be erased.
Let's try a different question then. When Mr. Elk died, was he really the only person at his table?
There was another man.
I knew it. Maggie was telling the truth.
You may cross-examine the witness now, Mr. Wright.
There's just one more thing I need to do. I gotta break this guy and get him to tell us the name of the real killer. And if his name is Don Tiger, then I've been lied to. Oh, okay, that was really easy. You have a $500,000 debt, don't you?
$500,000? Is this true, Mr. Armstrong?
Oui, je suis désolé. I was weak and I borrowed la money.
This is Mr. Armstrong, Achilles' heel. And that's why you couldn't refuse anything asked of you by this man.
I mean, I'm not...
Cool. Okay, I was like, I swear to God, if I get this wrong, I'm not saving, you know? A $500,000 loan from a black market loan shark. And you had no way of paying it back, did you? That's why you were forced to do anything this man told you.
Oui, it is as you say. Mr. Armstrong, the tiger, he told me he was going to use my restaurant as a business rendezvous. On the day in question, he was meeting la victim to demand that he repay his loan. I don't know why it happened like that. I just did what he told me to do. Excuse me. I had no choice. I carried the body and the inconscient. Is that how you would say that? Inconscient mega out of the dining area. Wouldn't it be unconscious? But okay. Well, whatever. And into the kitchen. After that, I just tried to forget what I had seen.
I think we can now safely say the man who forced your hand was Mr. Furio Tiger.
Oh, is this supposed to be like for real tiger? For real tiger?
I do have one further question for you, Mr. Armstrong. The poison and the lottery ticket were recovered from the defendant's apron pocket. Was that your doing as well?
No, I know nothing about that. Making it look like it was Maggie who had done it. I was not. It is despicable.
Mr. Gatto, you will summon the Sphero Tiger as a witness. I doubt that can be arranged today, so we will adjourn for now. Proceedings will continue tomorrow.
"30 minutes.
What?
The trial will go on. I'll see to it myself. I need half an hour to get that guy on the stand. Not a minute more."
How the?
Don't sit back and relax yet, Trite. No one knows if the chef is really telling the truth or not. This trial could still go either way.
Very well. Your request is granted, Mr. Gatto. We will resume once Mr. Tiger is ready to take the stand. Until then, court is adjourned for a 30-minute recess.
Well, I'm only 40 minutes into this, so I'm gonna play the whole thing. Cause god dang, this game is addicting, man. I don't want to stop playing. Might take like a 2-minute break though. I'm gonna cut it out of the video though. This is gonna be like 30 minutes long anyway, so you guys are probably gonna get it all in one episode. Ugh. Okie dokie dokie dokie. Okie dokie dokie literature club. So we're finally gonna see the tiger on the stand. We almost got this case won now, Nick. I wish I could agree. Why does my phone keep going off? Good lord. Huh? When I cross-examined Mr. Armstrong just now. He said he was just doing what the tiger told him to do. But Gatto picked up on it, remember? He pointed out that without proof, we don't know if what he testified is the truth. You mean, you think Mr. Armstrong was lying? I don't know, but if that's the line the prosecution takes, we could be in trouble. Get the feeling that we don't have the case making evidence we're gonna need. Hey, pal! Detective Gumshoe! What are you so jumpy about, Detective? Your hair's standing on end. Hey, that's the pot calling the kettle black, little Miss Top Knot. It's not a top knot! Never mind about the hair, just calm down, alright? I can't stand still when I don't have a job to do. I get kinda wound up. No kidding. You gotta have something you need me to do, pal, anything! Excuse me. Well, hey, I'm gonna take a jog back down to the precinct. I could get some prints analyzed for you if you got an hour. An hour? The trial will have reconvened by then. But Nick, we still don't have a really decisive piece of evidence, right? True. Without some kind of trump card to pull out of the bag, we're really stuck. You said you could get some fingerprints analysis done in an hour? You bet! In that case, would you mind checking the prints on this for me? The small bottle, right? Why do I feel like this is some... You're going back to the station anyway. Did you find out whose prints are on this? Oh, hey, that's the small bottle I gave back to you this morning, right? Yeah, I think it's time we solve the last mystery of who the prints on it belong to. Sure thing, pal. Actually, that's been gnawing at me too. Okay, I'll get this off to the lab right away. Just make sure you don't lose the case before I get back. I'll try my best. It's pretty much the final showdown, I guess. It's time to separate the phonies from the real guys. This is what you get for trying to be me. Bop, 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 bop.
Court will now reconvene. Mr. Gatto, did you find this Furio Tiger?
I even damed him for you. It was a 3-cup job, no problem.
Tamed him? The guy's name may be Furio Tiger, but come on.
He's pretty lively. Be careful, he still bites.
Very well. Please show Mr. Tiger to the stand. Witness, please state your name and occupation for the...
Don't hide under the table, Maya, unless there's room for me down there too.
Would you mind...
What'd you say to me?
Nothing. I didn't say nothing, honest.
Who could have guessed that fear would induce a bad Brooklyn accent, the judge? I got business to take care of, you hear me? So who the hell called me into this hole? Was it you, Sparky? No, of course not. It was the judge. Your Honor?
Oh dear, I seem to have dropped my pen. Where on earth is it? Don't mind me, just carry on with the proceedings as normal.
That's it, we're doomed. Maybe you didn't hear me. I said who the hell was it that called me in here?
There's no need to shout. We can all hear you.
What'd you say?
There's no point struggling. You're caught in a snare. The relentless snare of the law. And I'm the only one that hauled you in. Too cool. Don't let him get the better of you, Nick. Let's start with the basics. You know about the incident in question, correct?
Incident? I don't know nothing about no sneaking incident, masked boy.
You mean you didn't attend the previous trial of Megan Bird?
Mega who? I've got more important things to do than watch courtroom dramas. Of course. Well, perhaps you could give us your testimony then. Please tell us about what you did on the day of the murder. Huh. Phoenix Wright.
You's the one who set this up, didn't you? You's gonna regret the day you ruffled the tiger's fur. You hear what I'm saying? Maybe I should have brought a diaper with me today. Get a grip, Nick!
Like you're one to talk, Maya.
This guy kills my voice. I don't know nothing about no murder. I was tied up with business in December last year. Spent all my time in my office. I got Wells lined up to borrow cash from tender lender every day. You want to check my alibi? Just ask Violetta.
Last I found my pen. Very well then, Mr. Wright, a cross-examination What is it? Please, witness, if you could refrain from shouting out like that.
I know the kind of games that guy in the blue plays. That lowlife ain't no lawyer. He just punches away at stupid details till he wins. Lowlife? Me? Listen up, Smarty. Every time you ask me something that doesn't relate to this case, I'm gonna bill you $50,000, and you's gonna borrow the cash from me. That's one loan contract I refuse to sign. I don't think it ain't gonna hurt when you get tangled with the tiger. Ha! I love a good spectator sport.
Just a minute, that's really not...
This witness is, how can I put it, a hungry tiger roaming the urban jungle. You can get on his bad side, and he'll bite everyone's heads off. Yours too.
Very well. I have no choice but to impose a penalty system here.
What? You's better be listening. I said I got business to take care of, big business. If I don't split now, I ain't gonna catch my bus.
Court will now impose a penalty for any irrelevant pressing of witness testimony. Keep that in mind as you begin your cross-examination, Mr. Wright.
Yes, Your Honor. You can do it, Nick. Come up from under the table already, would you?
Oh, man. But pressing is like my game.
That's the entire point. You just press until they break.
Maybe it's this one.
Are you sure about that? We're talking about 1 month ago, you know? You see these teeth? That's how sharp my secretary is. Sharp? Are you talking about Viola Cadaverini? She writes everything in my scheduler. December, mainly in the office. That's what it says, so that's where I was.
Well, it seems like a rather, sketchy schedule.
Oh. There he goes again. What the tiger did all December isn't the issue. What's important is what he was doing on the day of the murder, so now what?
Press harder!
Mr. Tiger, what do you want? Oh, god dang it. Why don't you do a bit more detail? It's a dead end, right? You know it. Remember the rules.
Nope.
No, it's essential that we establish the witness's alibi accurately.
I agree.
The victim was killed on December 3rd. Were you in the office that day too? Maybe you ain't listening. Of course I was. I never set foot outside. I had meetings all day with a bunch of cats waiting to do business with me. I ain't never seen that young kid before.
I do believe the witness's last statement was important. Mr. Gatto, if you could please...
Mr. Tiger, the court asks you to add that last statement to your testimony. Don't let in, I'm gonna beat you, man. Be a man, Your Honor, and ask him yourself. Okay, so this
is wrong. You are wrong, friend. Here, you want to see how I'm going to prove you wrong? Are you ready? Are you ready? Boom!
Mr. Tiger, you claim you didn't know Mr. Glenn Elk, but it appears that Mr. Elk knew you. What? Mr. Elk left this little note on his calendar. Meet with the tiger. Dated December 3rd.
December 3rd? That's the day of the murder.
So, Mr. Tiger, I submit that you did indeed know one Mr. Glenn Elk, because on the very day of the incident, you met with him. Not bad. He was actually not bad. Sorry? I was just messing with yous to see how good you were. Did you hear that, Nick? He said you're not bad. That's one compliment I can do without. Plus, he's lying through his teeth.
Witness, please remember that you're under oath. Lies will not be tolerated.
You call me a liar? Is that what you're doing?
Ruh-roh.
So you're saying that your claim to have never seen the kid before is the truth? I said I'm dead serious. You better believe that's the truth. Ha! Then I'd say that gives me time to enjoy another cup of pure black magic. That is, while you testify for the court again, Mr. Tiger.
Oh, yes, would you mind indulging the court, witness?
You never actually met the victim? That's gotta be a lie right there. It's time I nailed this guy.
This case is interesting. I'm really liking this. I know everybody's like, oh, the third case always sucks in every game, but I mean, I don't know. I'm finding this somewhat fun. I kind of wish they did a bit more with the whole phony Phoenix idea, but whatever.
I ain't no liar. I never met Glen Elg. There was some lame guy with that name, though. Wanted to borrow cash from me. Set up with meeting with the guy in my office, 10 to Linda. I waited around for him, but he ain't ever showed. Never been to that Tribune joint, you see ya?
That's wrong! Oh, okay, I know where it is. Oh, I see it. All seems perfectly logical. You had arranged to meet with the victim, but he didn't show up.
But it's pretty hard to keep appointments when you're dead. That might be the best line Gato has ever said.
Very well, you may begin your cross-examination, Mr. Wright.
Yes, Your Honor. And I know the contradiction. Didn't I tell you I got a big deal going down today? I ain't gonna make my bus now. I'm gonna have to take the express train. The bill's going straight to you, right? Cross-examination. Boy! Mr. Tiger, is there something you'd like to tell the court about these matches? That was my first attempt, by the way, in case anybody's like,
wow, I bet you looked up the answer. It's like, no, it's just...
Matches? What you talking about? We found them in your office at Tender Lender. They're from that restaurant. If you've really never been to Tribune before, what was the book of the restaurant's matches doing in your desk? You've been snooping around my stuff now too, wise guy. What are you, my ball and chain? Ain't no bra controlling me.
Order! Order! Well, witness, I think it's time you start telling us the truth, don't you? Sorry, I'm terribly sorry, forgive me.
I ain't no pussycat. I don't go back on what I said, but okay, I was at that joint that day. What? Well, listen good, alright? I might have been there, but I still never met that kid. Well, well. Looks like an order just came in for another testimony. I'm this close to proving it was him. He did meet Glen Elg that day, and he did put poison in his coffee. He must have. Yeah, this seems like it's going super well. Almost too well. Is it gonna turn out it's Violet all along? I was supposed to meet with the kid at the restaurant that afternoon. When I opened the door to the joint, I saw one ugly scene. That guy was laid out over the table, stiff as concrete. I figured if the place wasn't hot already, it was gonna be, so I split. I heard the cops' sirens on my way out, and I went straight back to my office.
I see. You didn't actually meet with him in the end, then. Well, Mr. Wright, cross-examination, please.
Yes, Your Honor. Hold it. If I wait around here any longer, I ain't even gonna make the normal express. No more stupid questions. Ha! No problem. Anytime Trite presses you on something irrelevant, I'll see he pays a penalty.
Mr. Gatto, that's my job.
Your job is to slam that little hammer of yours and call a guilty verdict. So do it.
Yes, sir.
The special express ain't cheap, right? Just so you know, since you was paying. Oh man, doesn't the rule of law mean anything around here? Yay, I got a first try. Holy crap, that was a guess. You're something of a loan collecting pro, aren't you, Mr. Tiger? No one escapes the Tiger's clutches. Well, I'm something of a lie detecting pro. And no one escapes the Phoenix's clutches. I think it's time we got something straight. What's this, Trite? A new line of irrelevant questioning? These are the floor plans of the crime scene. Floor plans, not pans. You say you were standing at the entrance, Mr. Tiger? From there, your field of vision would have covered an area something like this.
Indeed, the witness would have had a clear view of the victim's seat.
Isn't that what I just said? I saw the back of the kid's head. Unfortunately for you, that is not possible. If the court would think back, you'll remember that between each of the tables is a tall partition.
Why, that's true.
Now look at the plans again. The truth is painfully obvious. From the entrance, the field of vision of any customer walking in ends here. Ooh. So, from the entrance of Tribulations, you couldn't have seen the victim's seat. But you did see the victim that day, because you met with him. Wrong. Have you forgotten the old man's testimony yesterday? The victim was alone at his table. But the defense just proved that point to be moot. The victim witnessed by Mr. Kudo was not Glen Elg, but a fake. What? In order to have Mr. Kudo falsely testify, the real killer posed as the victim he had just killed and acted out a charade.
That will do. This trial has gone on long enough without the obvious question being answered. Who exactly was this real killer who impersonated the victim? You say the killer murdered Mr. Glen Elg, and then impersonated his victim in a performance for Victor Kudo? In that case, Mr. Wright, reveal the identity of this criminal to the court.
Well, I mean, it's the guy standing in front of you. Like, I don't know why we're beating around the bush. Obviously, the killer is Furio Tiger. No one else could have done it.
What? Well, witness?
Now that's cute. You think you can pin this on the tiger? Maybe you just don't understand. The tiger is king of the jungle. So I dares you to say it ain't. Come on, you got the guts.
You can't threaten me, Mr. Tiger, with a good time. It's the defense. Go ahead and tell the witness, Mr. Wright. Mr. Wright!
Sounds to me like it must be you, old man. If you've got guts, I'll give you that.
Mr. Wright, do not leave me to handle this alone.
Perhaps I can end this embarrassment.
Mr. Gatto.
Let's just go back over Mr. Kudo's testimony one more time. The old man didn't just see the victim. Oh, no, no, no.
The servant girl brought him a Javachino, but she put something in it. There's no question about it. She's very conspicuously put some white powder in there.
Was the victim he saw the real victim or not? That doesn't matter. The fact remains, he saw the accused put the poison into the coffee.
Yes, it was the waitress who poisoned the coffee.
Very impressive, Mr. Gatto. Waiting for my absence to launch your attack. Ha! Found your pen at last, Wright? It was in my pocket. But anyway, Mr. Kudo witnessed two people that day. He saw the victim, the supposed Mr. Glen Elg, and the waitress from behind.
Yes, your point, Mr. Wright?
I think the conclusion is obvious. If this Glen Elg was really the killer in disguise, then surely it's possible the waitress was also part of the show.
What? You mean the waitress was an imposter as well?
The defendant, Miss Bird, fell unconscious immediately after the incident. And someone used her fainting to hatch an elaborate plan to pin the murder on her.
Who on earth was it? Who was this waitress that Mr. Kudo witnessed?
It was Violetta blah blah blah, but I'm gonna save just in case it's like,
oh no, it was actually Lisa Basile the entire time. Who was this woman?
Her name is Viola Cadaverini. She's an employee of Tender Lender. You're making a big mistake. Do you know who Violetta's grandfather is? You better be going home in an armored truck tonight if you know what I mean.
Stop shaking, Nick.
Where was I? Yes, the defendant, Miss Bird, has stated the following.
Well, when I took the coffee over to the victim's table, it's true that there was another customer in the restaurant. She was sort of creepy, and she had kind of a cackling laugh.
There are just too many contradictions in this case. The second man at the victim's table who nobody but Miss Bird seems to have seen. The earpiece worn by the victim in his left ear when that eardrum was ruptured. And the radio show he was supposedly listening to half an hour after it was over. There's only one logical explanation that clears up all of these contradictions. The whole incident took place twice, once for real and once for show. And Mr. Furio Tiger, the only person who could have committed the crime,
was you. Oh, I read that wrong.
That was very anticlimactic.
Witness, what have you got to say?
That's cute.
Sorry?
You's alright. I could do with a guy like you around. What do you mean? Okay, I'm in on this game. I'm gonna have to charter a jet to get me to my meeting now, but I'm gonna give you one more thing to think about before I go.
Something to think about?
You's got it all wrapped up nice, huh, Wright? But you's missed out one real important thing.
But that can't be.
I was in the joint that day, and I met that kid, too. But I couldn't have poisoned him, you see?
What? You really expect us to believe you now, Mr. Tiger?
Ha! What a troublemaker. Troublemaker? Looks like we're going to need another one for the road. One more steaming cup of hot testimony.
Indeed. Witness, you will explain yourself to the court. I will give you one more chance to testify. What happened that day at Tribulations between yourself and the victim?
Oh God, yawns. It's only like 8:30. What is wrong with me?
Yeah, I loaned El Cash about $100,000. That day, we was due to have a little chat. The kid had hit his paycheck date, see? So anyway, he tells me he's got no way to pay up. I'm about to flatten the guy when he starts screaming. Yes, I won $500,000. He got lucky, you know. Real lucky. If that waitress hadn't done what she done, everything would have been over.
No, I see the principal amount you loaned to Mr. Elg was $50,000.
Yeah, well, he's got the VIG to take into account. Interest builds up fast, you know? That's faster than fast. $100 is twice his principal.
100,000. And the repayment deadline was December 3rd, the day of the incident in question.
Yeah, he was one lucky kid. He got that $500,000 just in time, so I ain't have no reason to kill the kid. And if I ain't got no motive, you ain't got no case. His motive? He has to have one, but what is it? It has to do with MC Bomber, but I don't know what. The waitress, you mean? Girl with the glasses and the finished her, who else could I mean? If she had gone the way, things would have been bada bing bada boom over and over or done with. We should push a little on this. What exactly are you implying the defendant did? How about you go ask 4 Hours about that $500,000 ticket? She wanted it so bad, she poisoned Elk's coffee. A likely theory. Your word hasn't held water lately, Mr. Tiger. Let's not forget this witness was actually at the scene, Trite. Well, I don't exactly agree with some of the deals I spent down. I couldn't be there when the cops showed up, so I split.
Oh, I see.
Your Honor. The witness's last few statements are worth a good 2 cups of coffee.
I concur, Mr. Gatto. You will amend your testimony accordingly, witness.
So that's what you's after, Phoenix, right? As to what you did, my business with that kid was over. Tiger's trying to pin the crime on Maggie. If I ask him about what he saw, it's only going to damage our case. What do you mean things would have been over and done with? You was all there or what? I'm talking about the cash. I was there to get my $100,000 back. That's all. I'm a businessman. It was all coming together before that waitress got in the way.
As far as I can tell from the witness's testimony, other than recouping his loan, Mr. Tiger had no motive for killing the victim. Well, Mr. Wright, are you happy with your testimony, or would you like it amended?
I'm not gonna get anywhere with the testimony as it stands. Your Honor, the defense would like the testimony amended.
Very well. Witness, you will amend your testimony to reflect your recent statements, please.
Ah, there it is. Now I can finally use this. Yes, there we go. I knew it was MC Bomber, I just didn't know what to do it with. So you intended to get back the $100,000 Mr. Elg owed you, correct? I loaned the guy the cash, so that's my right. Unfortunately for Mr. Elg, I don't believe the $100,000 is what you were after. What are you getting at, Trite? What else would a moneylender be after other than money? Oh, the moneylender was after money, but money in a totally different league. The kind of money that a single disc like this would fetch. Ooh, he's like, why'd you get that off my desk, boy?
What is that? What is that?
A computer virus, Your Honor. A virus called MC Bomber.
A computer virus? What does one of those do?
A computer virus is a program that wreaks havoc on the inside of a computer.
A computer? What does one of those do?
I guess the beard isn't the only part of his honor that's from the Stone Age. I'll explain to you later, Your Honor. Right now, this is the important part. A virus like MC Bomber would be worth several $1 million on the black market.
Several $1 million?
Lending money with no hope of ever seeing repayment would normally be bad for business. But in this case, the very fact that Glenn Elk had no way to repay the money is crucial.
What?
Glenn Elk was a programmer, a highly skilled programmer. Excuse me. That skill was the collateral Mr. Elk put up in order to borrow the money.
Objection!
You're trying to suggest the witness's motive was to get hold of that program? Exactly. The witness may have poor fashion sense, but he is by no means an idiot, Trite. A man like him could get his hands on $1 million without resorting to murder. Of course he could, provided that he had time. But what if he had needed the money right then? When the pressure's on, the luxury of choice tends to disappear.
It seems you have a logical conclusion for this theory, Mr. Wright. Would you care to share it with us? Why did Mr. Tiger need money to the tune of $1 million?
Well, I'll tell you that. It is... let me find it. On December of last year, you found yourself in need of a huge amount of money. About 6 months ago, you were involved in a traffic accident, weren't you? An accident involving a car and a scooter in which a young woman was injured. She was taken to the hospital, where she underwent surgery. Where did you get all this info? These medical papers document the treatment of the young woman in question. According to these, her operation cost $1 million. Payment for these expenses was due in December of last year, and was paid in full.
$1 million? A preposterous sum. Someone should sue these HMOs.
Ha! No one will pay a bill like that. If the medical association got wind of it, the hospital would end up as dead as a morgue. But Mr. Tiger had no choice but to pay, because his very life depended on it.
Order! 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 You say his life depended on it, Mr. Wright?
Indeed it did, simply because the injured woman was none other than Viola Cadaverini. Did you say Cadaverini? Bruto Cadaverini, mob boss in charge of all the underworld activities in the city, and doting grandfather to his precious Violetta, also known as Viola Cadaverini. Your life was in danger unless you paid compensation to the boss, correct? It makes sense. You were desperate to acquire the $1 million Cadaverini commanded of you. So desperate, in fact, that you decided to sacrifice Glenn Elk's life to pay your debt. On the day of the murder, Mr. Tiger's sole intention was to get his hands on this CD. Glenn Elk had no way of paying back the $100,000, and Mr. Tiger knew it. But then a miracle happened. The kind that Mr. Tiger would have preferred to say never happened, but he can't, neither can I. The lottery win. Exactly. The 11th hour, Mr. Elk won $500,000 on the lottery, which left Mr. Tiger with no way of getting his hands on the all-important CD. At least, no legitimate way. So he resorted to illegitimate means. That's crazy. He murdered Glenn Elk and then made his next move, to frame Maggie Bird for the crime. Mr. Tiger posed as Glenn Elk, while Viola Cadaverini played the role of Miss Bird. And then they reenacted the whole thing in order to establish a witness. The witness being the one we all heard testify yesterday, Mr. Victor Kudo. Like I said, Trite, that's crazy. No one could pull off a stunt like that. For starters, there's no way the chef could have been kept out of it. But Mr. Armstrong knew all about it. Have you forgotten already, Mr. Gatto? Mr. Armstrong owed the witness money too. $500,000, in fact. He had no choice but to go along with Mr. Tiger's plan.
Order! Order! Silence, or I will clear the courtroom.
You's put on a good show, Spiky. If yous want to stay alive in the loan shark business, you gotta be careful. You saying I dressed up like that kid, created a witness, and framed someone? If I did something crazy like that, I'd leave a trail as bright as my shirt. I ain't dumb enough to do something sloppy like that. I agree. What? Despite your appearance, you were very careful. That's why you took one more precaution, one more trick to make sure Miss Bird had no way out.
What? Another one, Mr. Wright?
Interesting. Why don't you fill us all in, Trite? What was this trick you say Mr. Tiger performed to frame the accused?
What on earth is that? What an insult to think anyone could be fooled by such a childish imitation.
Consider yourself insulted, Your Honor. Mr. Tiger, you didn't just pose as the victim on the day in question. A month ago, in this very court, you posed as me.
That's what I was trying to say with the other one, but okay.
What? That's
the truth.
But the witness looks nothing like you, Mr. Wright. Although, now that I think about it, it was you, wasn't it? No doubt it was you, standing in here, this very court, a mere month ago. The Phoenix Wright who put up the most disreputable, shabby defense I have ever seen.
Objection!
Can you prove that, Gramps? Prove the attorney who represented the accused here a month ago was this man? Are you prepared to take the stand and testify that it was him? Oh.
Hey.
Forget about it. Yeah? I wouldn't do something like that, not me. You made a mistake, right? It was someone else, huh? Have you no pride, sir? This isn't a matter of pride. In case you didn't know, Trite, here in court, we deal with people's lives.
Mr. Gatto is right.
Your Honor?
Speaking for myself, I am absolutely convinced. The attorney in question was the witness standing before me now. However, I preside over this court as the judge, with the vested power to hand down a verdict. Someone in my position cannot be swayed by a memory without evidence to support it.
No!
If the defense has no further evidence, the court will now excuse the witness. The circumstances surrounding Mr. Tiger are dubious for sure, but not conclusive.
But we've come so far! You say he impersonated Glenn Elm. You say he impersonated you. But none of that adds up to the murder charge. You don't have a shred of evidence that the witness poisoned the coffee.
No.
Sorry, my voice. I can't do a scream right now. Gumshoe, 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 gumshoe. Ha! Sucks to be you, rat. Don't mess with the tiger, or you're gonna get mauled. You's got that? All the man should do here was chase him around a bit, but it was so close to getting him to admit his own guilt. Ha! Looks like I won't be needing a refill. If I just had one more piece of evidence, maybe I could get Maggie off the hook. Gumshoe! Gumshoe!
This witness's cross-examination is over. You are free to go, Mr. Tiger.
No, Gumshoe! Yes, okay, there we go. Hold it! Your Honor, sir? Wait! Detective Gumshoe. Sorry it took so long, pal. I staked everything on this. My badge, the works, so here it is. My heart's counting on this too.
What is it, Detective?
Isn't it obvious, pal? It's the final decisive piece of evidence.
What? Oh, okay. What's going on?
Sorry it took so long, pal, but I finally got the results from the lab. The results? About the prints, pal, from this medicine bottle. Oh, so? Do you know who the prints belong to now? Do you think I'm some kind of hack detective? Of course I know! So, tell us! They're the tigers, right? I knew it! You bet! Clear as crystal, all over the bottle. They're Furio Tiger's paw prints, alright? That's great! We've got them now, Nick! What's wrong with you? You've hardly said a word since Detective Gumshoe got here. He's laid everything on the line for this, Nick. I know. Look, I'm sorry. This is kind of hard to say, but it really doesn't make any difference whose prints are on this bottle now. Huh? What? Why not? But we need to produce it. This at this stage in the trial is irrefutable evidence that the tiger put poison in Glenn Elk's coffee. He already admitted that he met the victim. The fact that his prints are on this bottle, that really doesn't make a difference then. I knew it. Great. No matter how hard I try, I'm never of any use. Hey, don't be so hard on yourself. This is our last chance to help Maggie. I've been working on some useless piece of evidence the whole time. It's alright, I'm a real loser. It's not breaking news to me, pal. Detective Gumshoe? Maggie! You've been working on something for me? Sorry I let you down, Maggie. I know you didn't do it, and I'm a detective. We're supposed to be able to prove stuff like that. I'm really sorry. I'll get out of your hair now. Detective Gumshoe, wait! He's gone. Isn't there anything we can do now, Nick? I wish there was. Gumshoe worked so hard to get that evidence. If only there was some way I could use it. So how are we gonna use it? This is interesting.
Mr. Wright,
Yes, Your Honor?
I granted you a recess so you can prepare this decisive evidence you discovered.
Yes. Don't keep us all in suspense, Trite. Show us. Naturally, we can assume it's evidence that will actually stand up in court, can't we? Think, Phoenix. Don't let Gumshoe's hard work go to waste. How much more time are you gonna waste? I ain't been to no court before, but you's lawyers sure know how to blow things out of proportion.
No doubt, given the nature of this evidence, it will speak for itself. Nevertheless, you will talk us through it, Mr. Wright.
Well, I know I can't prove anything new with this evidence. I'm really backed into a corner here, but maybe if he thinks he's got me beat, he'll let his guard down a bit.
Don't keep us waiting any longer, Mr. Wright. Present this final, decisive piece of evidence to the court.
I'm gonna save just in case they're like, no, you should pick a different one now. This is the defense's final piece of evidence.
Isn't that the victim's?
Your Honor? Naturally, the court is already aware of the contents of this bottle. However, interesting new information has come to light. We have clearly identified some fingerprints on it. Fingerprints belonging to you, Mr. Tiger.
What? But, Mr. Wright, what conclusion are you hoping to draw from this new information?
Everyone in here knows what this bottle contains, except one man. One person in this courtroom should theoretically be in the dark. My prints are on that pansy-looking bottle? Is that what you saying? Well, what the hell's in it anyways? A phony trial, a phony lawyer, and phony clues. Everything about this case has been phony. Seems like the perfect excuse for some phony evidence. Mr. Tiger, this is the decisive piece of evidence that will prove your guilt. Why? Because it contains potassium cyanide. We're gonna lie a little bit. This is the bottle containing the potassium cyanide.
Potassium cyanide?
The poison used to murder Mr. Elk, Your Honor. The victim's killer used this very bottle. And on this bottle, Mr. Tiger, we found your fingerprints. Well, how do you explain that? You'd make a good clown, you know that? What? Yous ain't never gonna get this to stick. Yous just making me laugh now. You think a cheap bluff like that's gonna fool the tiger? A bluff? I can see straight through you, Phoenix, right? That ain't the bottle with cyanide in it. No, this is the bottle that we found traces of poison in. Don't mess with the tiger or you's gonna get ripped to shreds. The cyanide bottle was brown and it was made of glass. Boy, that cheap piece of trash don't look nothing like it. Oh, everyone. Yes, God, I was like, God dang it.
Mr. Tiger, what did you just say?
Got him. At last. What? Why's everyone gone quiet? I said that bottle. Is this the bottle you're referring to? Yeah, that's it. That's the bottle the cyanide was in. But you ain't gonna find my prints on that bottle. Don't let that cozy looking suit fool you, people. That's the lawyers just playing games. Tell him, Gatto. Tell that guy where to go. You still haven't figured it out yet? Don't you realize what you just said? What I said? What did I just say? You were summoned to this court for the first time earlier today. If you really had nothing to do with the murder, You shouldn't have known all the little details. For instance, you shouldn't have known what kind of bottle the potassium cyanide was in. But just now, you slipped up in front of every single person in this courtroom. You described the exact bottle used by the killer to hold the poison.
Yous don't know who you's messing with. I'm the Tiger. I control millions of dollars on the black market. You think I'm gonna let some jumped up suit get the better of me?
Sure, the last piece of evidence was phony. But that's just what you deserve. The phony trial with a phony lawyer. It was all played out by you, the biggest phony of all.
Just look like an actual tiger's roar. Oh, dang, he is up, and it's all flashing through him now. He's like, God. Oh, he broke. As the lights go out. What's going on? Are you serious? It looks like a blackout.
Well done, Wright. I saved my 17th cup of coffee just for you. Savor it while you watch your caged prey.
Right, he caught a tiger by his toe, but if this one hollers, he won't be let go. Really, Judge? Prosecution will be sure to take care of Mr. Tiger, won't you, Mr. Gatto?
He's being arrested on suspicion of the murder of Glenn Elg, Your Honor.
Fortunately for us, we managed to rectify a very grave error. Mr. Bird was found guilty, Miss Bird, not Mr., sorry, in the absence of a genuine defense attorney.
Yes, she was. And in the absence of genuine evidence, the Tiger made one mistake.
Indeed. He very nearly got away with everything if it wasn't for that one slip of the tongue. Froyo Tiger is truly a frightening criminal.
Ha! The truly frightening one is that defense attorney over there.
Got it.
He's realizing, like, this guy's not a joke anymore. Like, I don't know if he knew me while I was like a crappy one, but like he's realizing like this guy is good. Like I need to step up my game.
Well, I am now in position to deliver my verdict. This court finds the defendant, Maggie Bird, not guilty.
Woo! We did it! Confetti! Woo! I don't know why they're releasing confetti. That doesn't.
That is all. This court is adjourned.
It's like, would you release that if the killer was found guilty too?
Defendant lobby number 1.
Mr. Wright, I'm at a loss for words. Thank you, sir. Congratulations, Maggie. I was so mad when Mr. Wright landed me in all that trouble a month ago, but now I feel like I can forgive him. Hey, that wasn't me, Maggie. That was the tiger. Look, Nick, in the doorway. Detective Gumshoe. Oh, guess I'll be heading off then. See you around, pal. Wait! Detective Gumshoe. Oh, yeah. Congratulations, Maggie. Thanks. I knew you were innocent all along. Why didn't you say that in your testimony then? Huh? Oh, well, well, guess I'll be heading off then. See you around.
Wait up, detective. He just ran off.
Maggie, why are you being so hard on him? He busted his butt for you. Thanks to him that we got the medication bottle. That wasn't even any use. But it's only because Mr. Wright used it so cleverly. Detective Gumshoe was just running around in circles. Poor guy. Looks like she still isn't ready to forgive him. Can you put in a good word for him, Nick?
Yeah, Maya's right. I should help Gumshoe out. It's clear he needs it. Maggie? You know, Detective Gumshoe's been really worried about you through all this.
I wanted to believe that, sir. But on that first day of the trial, he practically gave the judge a free pass to lock me up.
He didn't have any choice, Maggie. He's a detective. He has to report the facts.
He doubted me, and that's why. He thought I might have done it.
You've got to prove to her that Gumshoe really cares about her. I know. I'll give her a little present to celebrate her freedom.
Of course, give him the Gumshoe's lunchbox.
Here you are, a present to celebrate your freedom.
That's A present from Detective Gumshoe, made with a ton of love. He said you lost weight and he was worried about you. Detective Gumshoe. I actually really like weenies, you know? Did you guys hear that? I'm pretty hungry myself, you know.
Yeah, the trial dragged on a bit today, didn't it? We're like an hour and a half into this.
Is it okay if I eat this now?
Good lord, I feel like I'm about to have an avalanche right now.
Aw. So, how is it, Maggie?
Did they literally reuse that Maya sprite from before?
It's really good. So the case of phony versus genuine comes to an end. The false allegations surrounding Maggie have all been cleared up. And who knows, maybe a whole new chapter of her life is about to begin. I love this game, man. Recipe for Turnabout. The end.
Oh boy, that didn't go on nearly as long as I thought.
Brand new episode has been added. Turnabout beginning. What? Isn't that what the first one's called?
That's strange. So this next one is actually really short. It's like 2 things instead of 1. Or Turnabout Memories. So this one, it just has 2 trial days, so I might do it in 1 episode. I might not, though. Well, it depends on how long the first trial is, but yeah. Anyways, that doesn't matter, because right now I'm going to end the episode here. If you have enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe, subscribe to see more of this awesome game, as well as Spider-Man PS4 when it comes out, boy! Anyways, I don't know if I'll be able to finish this by then. So what's... no, I'm not going to be able to. I can pretty much confirm that right now. It's not happening. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Peace out!